If you live in Minnesota and you own a privately manufactured firearm, you might want to listen up. Let's talk about it. What's up, Wolverines? Welcome back to my little piece of paradise known as John Crump News, where we discuss 2A issues every day. I'm your host, John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist, and I would really appreciate if you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps amplify my voice, and I would be very appreciative. If you want to help me out, I have a Patreon, a locals, a join button, and many other ways you can help me, including going to Black Swan Prints and buying one of these things. I got a whole room full of them and I need to get rid of them, so go ahead and buy one, and it really helps me out. Today we're going to be talking about something that went down in Minnesota. Minnesota is known as the North Star State, I believe, and there's a young man and his friend shooting. The young man's name is Matthew Walker Anderson. He goes by Walker, so I'm just going to be calling him Walker. I did talk to his mom about this, and I really need to get this out there because it might stop you from getting locked up, and we might have an opportunity to help him as well. So Walker and his friend were having fun shooting on private property, and a half a mile away, somebody in their kitchen heard a window shatter. They also heard gunshots, so they automatically assumed that their window was broken by a stray round. Now, let me be clear. There was never any evidence that a bullet struck a window, no evidence whatsoever. So as far as we know, it could have been anything. It probably was not a stray round, but that did not stop the guy from calling the police. The police rolled up on Walker and his friend when they were shooting and looked at what they were doing, and they had a backstop and everything else. The police asked if they could examine the firearms that they were using. So they handed them over. The police was looking at their ARs and said, "Hey, you don't have a serial number on this." They explained, "Yeah, we do not have a serial number because they are privately made serial numbers." The police officer informed them that there's a law against obliterated serial numbers, which again, they said, these are not obliterated. We built these ourselves. The cop informed them that they were not allowed to give or possess a firearm without a serial number. The officer detained them for several hours before eventually letting them go, stating that they would be hearing from someone soon. And it was a little while, but they did finally hear from someone, and it wasn't the news that they wanted. They were being charged with felonies. They're being charged with violating Minnesota Criminal Code Chapter 609, Section 667. That deals with firearms without serial numbers. It states that you can be imprisoned for up to 5 years and a $10,000 fine if you obliterate a serial number or you possess or transfer a firearm without a serial number. Now, Minnesota does not have a definition of a firearm is on the books. Since Minnesota does not have a definition of a firearm, it relies on the federal definition of a gun found in the federal statute. And according to that, the ARs that the boys had do not require serial numbers, but they're being charged anyway. And the state's attorney is not offering them any plea deal or not offering any leniency. These boys are law-abiding. They do not have a criminal record. They are not felons. They are just having a little fun shooting targets, and yet they are having the book thrown at them. I think the prosecutor is trying to make an example of these two kids because she wants to send the message to everyone else in the state not to make your own firearms. I think this is a very scary thing that is happening, and I would not be surprised if the anti-gun groups are pushing prosecutors to do this. So what can we do to help these boys? Well, they do have a GiveSendGo, which I'm going to link below, and we can help them by donating money. Their legal case is going to be expensive, and they are looking at 5 years in prison for doing something that I do, for doing something that you probably do if you are watching this channel. While doing research for this story, I went to a lot of Minnesota gun sites, and most of the people on there believe that you can still build P80s and 80% ARs and everything else under the sun. And I also believe that you can do that. What I do think is happening is this prosecutor is taking a law and forming it to her own specifications to prosecute these guys. I also went to a bunch of different retailers that sell kits and 80% ARs, and they all still shipped to Minnesota. So we'll have to see what happens in this case. But you all need to be aware of what is going on. And remember that police are not your friends. You cannot talk yourself out of being arrested. You can only talk yourself into getting arrested. And never ever let them search anything without a warrant or without probable cause. So if they ask you, can I look at that? Say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to decline. And if they push you to do it, contact a lawyer or say that you're not going to speak to them without an attorney. Do not answer their questions. Just stay safe. We all have to remember we have the right to remain silent, and we need to exercise that right. We also have to exercise the right of asking for a warrant. If a cop comes up to my car and wants to search my car, I have nothing illegal in there, but I'm going to say I will not let you search it without a warrant. All right, guys, that is it. If you want to support the guys, there's a link down below where you can go ahead and help Walker out with his legal funds. It's going to be very, very expensive, so any penny will help out. I will also be writing about this at MLN.com, which is a great website, and it will actually have more information than what I've given you here. All right, guys, now let me show you something cool. This is my MCK by CAA Gear Up, and it has a brace. Yes, it has a brace. I'm a GOA member, so I am covered in Go Pound Sand. All right, guys, that is it. I do have my Glock 19 in there, but this could be an airsoft gun. You never know. But I will see you guys later. Remember, I love you guys, and stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keep in the fight. I am out of here. Wolverine's motherfucker.